Welcome to Entertainment is Dead. I am Lance, Chuck, your host. My body does not fit my voice. It's understandable.
At
Figure it
some
out.
at some point when we have consistent listeners, that joke's gonna have to get retired. I don't know when. I don't know how. I'm just saying.
That dickhead over there that's talking, that's Thomas Winkley.
He's pointing up, but I'm really below him. Hi.
Here's the story.
I have a guy named Tom.
Who's a jerk every time I have to do a Skype call with him. And I've also got Randy on here,
Hello,
returning
hello.
after an explosion in his kitchen. Left him kitchenless.
If you had said bathroom, people might perceive that a little differently.
While you were gone, Lance, Randy and I discussed him coming over to my house to make mac and cheese on the regular, so I think that's gonna be a thing.
You guys could like cook
Mhm.
cheese sandwiches and have man talks,
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
fluff each other or something.
Mhm.
And well, I'm really excited about tonight
Oh my God, it's
because
so good. It's so
we
good.
got a special guest. I had to pull a lot of strings. I know a few people. I have got the former governor himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I got him called in here. He's not on Skype, but I've got him on the phone. Arnold, are you there?
Hi there. Yes, I'm here.
All right. Can you hear him okay, Tom?
He's coming in loud and clear.
Kevin,
How are you,
great.
Governor?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, so wonderful.
All right. So, Governor, I know you don't have a lot of time because I'm sure you got a lot of like powerlifting and things to do. I know it's late, but you got to get that last set in, I'm sure. Um,
I'm having a late night Winnebago right now, so if we can get the questions going, this is great.
okay, great. All right. So, Tom, I think we're going to start with you. So, why don't you go ahead and ask Arnold some questions?
Sure. So, my first question is really, there's a lot of games made on your movies. What is your favorite one to play through, and which one do you still go back to?
The favorite game that's made on a movie of mine. I think perhaps the arcade version of the Terminator is this one where you have the huge guns and you're shooting at the screen. They have the, the robots that pop up and they shoot at you, and then whenever you do something good, I say excellent. I say good job. And my favorite part of the games is when I get to sell to you, player, because you are losing and you're dying, and got the countdown, and I say to you, hurry up. And I say, you're a loser. You come for the quarter. I like to hurt people, so this is my favorite one.
That's great, Arnold. We appreciate that. That was actually my favorite Arnold game too, because man, those guns. You gotta love those guns, right?
They shake. They shake, and this is the best part, because it makes me feel as if you are me. And the best thing is to be me.
Yes. I mean, who doesn't want to be you? I mean, you're fucking huge still. You're how old are you?
I'm 57 and a half.
Oh, yeah.
And there was really only 6 months where it had to be me back when the divorce and the maid and the love child. But if you look at him, if you look at Patrick, he looks just like me. And this is the good thing because he is now me. It was just the best thing.
Oh, yeah. We're as much as I want to get into your personal life, Arnold, we're gonna keep this just very video games. That's what we're about here. So, Randy, what questions do you have for Arnold?
So, Governor, when you play video games, do you prefer to play as the humans or do you prefer to play as the machines?
So I prefer to play with the humans or the machines. This is a very good question, Randall, and I say to you that I like to play the machines the most. The reason is that they think most like Republicans. And the humans,
Oh,
they think most like the Democrats. You see where I'm going with this. And the Democrats, they say, we want to be free, we want to run around and we want to make a score, and we want to get gold coins, and we want to have mushrooms that have extra, the one-ups and the extra life. And the machine say to you, no abortion, we have all the religions. You have a gun, and I will put your head with the Republican food. It's not actually a shoe. The trophy I had in my office is my shed now because of the divorce. But it's a giant gold boot. And when I see a Democrat, I grab it and I stomp him on the head with it and I say, no, you have to have the religion and no abortion and here's your gun. The life yet. You don't understand why they have not shot me yet. with the gun I've given them because I'm hitting them in the head with the blue trophy. So no.
Wow.
That was a more elaborate answer than I was expecting.
Well, I guess my next
It's a very
question.
well thought through propaganda campaign.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask a question really quick. So Arnold, when you were the governor, things really started tanking, and I really think the reason why that was happening, you had to have been playing a lot of video games. So tell me what video game that was that you were playing while California was just going into the pits.
Well, I get to tell you that the irony here is that there was playing Sim City the entire 80s.
Oh, okay.
And the irony is that in the Sim City game, I was doing much, much better. I was a very, very good Sim City player. Every Sim City game that came out, I said to Maria, go to the mall, go to the shopping center and get me the game. And she did. And I would play it. And I would look out the window at the city from the seat of government in Sacramento, and I would see what was happening in the city, and I would use it as an object example of what not to do in the Sim City game. And as you might imagine, this made me a very, very good player.
I believe it. I bet you were amazing at SimCity. So, Tom, did you have another question?
No, I'm good.
Randy?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, so I guess my last question I had for you was, Arnold, I think we all have games that just make us really frustrated and what we like to refer to as raging out. So can you tell me a little bit about like your worst experience? Like, have you ever raged out on a video game?
Oh, I think the worst rage I ever had was with a game called Pitfall. The old Pitfall, you remember from the Atari 2600?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
And I like the game because he goes, makes the funny carpet noises and the alligators and the swinging. But the thing that makes me rage the most about this game is the sound when the log rolls over your head. And then try to jump over the log, and it goes, just makes me very angry. And then try to jump over the log again, it goes, and it gets my head, it won't quit. And then try to escape down into the cave, the ladder, and the scorpion, he's scary, so it makes me go back up, when I stick my head off the top of the ladder, and I can't take it anymore, and I throw the TV out the window, and I use the Republican booth to stomp on the joystick, and I cry, and I fall to my knees in disgrace, and then, just then, Maria, she comes to me, she's heard my rage, and she kneels next to me, and she puts her hands on my face, and she touches the cheeks and the cheers, and she says to me, she looks me in the eye, and she lifts me up, Maria does, my wife, and she looks me in the eyes, and she's very romantic, and she says to me, and I get angry, and I pick up and I throw out the window, and the house is on fire, and everything explodes, and the berries, and the ladders are hot off, and there's two guns, and there's helicopters and explosions and fire.
Arnold! Whoa, he hung up. What the hell? Oh, jeez.
He played SimCity the entire time he was in office.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I wish we had asked him what the name of his city in SimCity was.
So we could visit.
Well, anyways, I felt really good about that. Thanks, Arnold. Thanks for being on our show. We'll have you again on soon, I'm sure. If next time when you're not so angry, I appreciate you. So, next, we are going to talk and try to top that, which is not going to happen, about gaming with gold.
Without.
Without gold. Yes, gaming without gold. That's right. But before we get into that, I want to have a 5-minute discussion really quickly since everybody here has played Wolf Among Us, and I want to talk about it because I just finished it. So, Steve, if you're tuned in, you got to shut it off. So I know he hasn't finished it yet. So I kind of had mixed feelings about the whole thing. When
So
I
you
started
finished the entire game then?
Yeah, I finished the whole thing. I really liked the world they built. I know this is based on a comic book. Um, I had to turn it off a few times just because, like, I don't know about you guys, but it made me like depressed about all the like cartoons I like or cartoons fables that I grew up with. It was like, oh fuck, like Little Mermaid's a fucking stripper. Everybody's doing bad shit. This is just making me
That's how I've
depressed.
always imagined Ariel. I don't understand your problem.
That's true. I actually, of all the Disney princesses, I would want to spank Ariel.
Well, and I think that like for me, my favorite part too was that like some of the funny stuff they had going on, like Belle is working at that shady motel, and Beast is all pissed off about it, and you're like, dude, seriously, if you had seen the rest of the people in this game, you should be happy that's what she's doing.
Yeah. And how about they were just shitty people too?
Hmm.
Like, what did they do? They did something in the game where they're just like they were like asking you for something and just being shady about shit. And you're like you have the option to like call them out on it, or I just kind of like I always play the good guy in the game. And I almost want to go back through Wolf Among Us and just be the biggest asshole I could possibly be by fuck you and like hit the woodsman as much as I can and just talk shit to everybody. And but yeah, like I took the easy road out, except for one thing, like that I felt like I got punished through the whole game for. Like, I don't think I like immediately started hitting the huntsman or the woodsman, but like a little bit after it, I ended up hitting him. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna hit him. And I hit him, and then I just got like punished through the whole game. They're like, remember that one time you hit the woodsman when he was getting interrogated? but but anyways,
And yes, Vance, you are correct. Good guy Chuck does not give a fuck.
right.
Sorry, Vance is sounding off in chat, but no, you're
Yeah.
right, and I think that's something that game does really well. Is it you get reminded, like we talked about. I killed. Seriously, Steve, you might want to mute it, but I killed one of the brothers. I can't remember if it was Tweedledee or Tweedledum, but one of those fuckers got killed by me because I was sick of his shit. And
Well, they're ugly little motherfuckers. They
yeah,
deserve to die.
no, I don't know about that, but they were just bastards. And so you get to a point where you're doing like this, almost like this negotiation, and there's all these like villains in the room, and Tweedledee or Tweedledum, the living one, is sitting in there, and like that whole negotiation, anything you say, he's like, "Ah, fuck off." God, like he is not doing you any goddamn favors. Well, rightfully so, because I ripped his brother's throat out. But, um, yeah,
So,
great game.
I mean, I enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun. It made me actually start reading the Fable comics because I had never really got into them before.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get a subscription or anything like that, but I just found digital copies places and kind of read those, and it was a lot of fun to do that. And it was kind of interesting to see how true they were to the characters from the comics, but also their own little spin that they put on things. And Telltale's really good about doing that. I mean, Walking Dead is obviously one of my favorite games I've played of theirs, but I'm actually going through the Game of Thrones one, Iron from Ice. I think that's what it's called, and it's awesome. Like it's very true to the Game of Thrones world, and that it's created. And just like in Wolf Among Us or in Walking Dead, you make one decision that you think is the best one to make at the time, and then the next episode they're like, "I can't believe you did that. You were such a dick. Like, how could you? How dare you?" And it's one of those things where you're like, "Crap, what if I had made a different decision?" And that's one thing this game does. Those games do very well.
Yeah.
I have the Game of Thrones series. I'm going to probably play that next. I kind of got burned out in the middle of Walking Dead season two. It's almost like it. No offense to the first game, because I loved the first game and I loved the decisions and stuff, but there's just something that feels very rinse and repeat about season two, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
How far did you get into season two?
I'm into the like what is it called? It's like a hardware store that they made into like
Okay.
city kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
there's
They
a lot of stuff that happens there.
Yeah.
there's a guy they killed with one arm, like the guy pushed him off the roof.
Right.
Anyways,
If you can get through that episode, or maybe it's the one right after it, you end up having a fight with like the leader guy, and then other things happen. But the way season two ended, there's like 4 or 5 different possibilities of endings, And so it's very like, how is season 3 gonna start? Because correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I felt like that was like kind of leading up to the pinnacle of season 2, and then it's like the crap hits the fan, and
Yeah.
there's no stopping.
Yeah,
It
I
just
mean,
goes.
it is really like slow moving from there. I guess after the events in that warehouse, it kind of slows down again for a little bit, right?
But
And then it re-escalates.
it slows
That's
down
what
in
it
the sense
be
of
like.
like zombies, but it's still like, if you actually think about what each of the characters are going through and the decisions you're having to make and whose side you're gonna take, like
Yeah,
that's where the intensity is. It's more
yeah,
about, is Clementine gonna side with Kenny, or is she gonna side with other people in the group?
yeah.
And where do your loyalties lie?
Well, and it really starts getting like really bad really quick, and it kind of takes that awful turn. So I would agree with that. I just that getting up to that warehouse though is not it's not the best part of the series by any means,
Right,
but it's necessary, I think.
right.
What's funny is as soon as Kenny appeared back on the screen, I was like, gotta bring back the biggest pot stirring motherfucker in the game.
You have
Like,
to. Yep.
oh god, I couldn't believe when he showed back up. But anyways, spoiler alert for Walking Dead. Um,
That game's like 8 months old, man.
yeah. So, anyways, Wolf Among Us. I liked the whole game. The whole game, I would definitely say is worth the money. I would say it's a great story driven game. But for some reason, when I got to like the end of episode 4 and then into 5, I just was kind of finishing it for the sake of finishing it. Like I felt like they were going a direction with certain things, and then they didn't take it that way. And the way the plot kind of unraveled, it just kind of felt like I wasn't looking for a big who done it, but I kind of felt lackluster about it. The one things that I did like when he turns into the huge ass wolf and he does the like blow the house down, kills Bloody Mary, um, but yeah, I just man, I don't know. I don't know what I was hoping for with that game. I would still say it's probably a solid B just based on like how well it's done, but it could have been an A, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So I don't know what are your thoughts on it, Randy and Tom.
I'll
No,
let you go first, Tom.
I don't know. I don't know about grading it. I mean, I do feel that the one thing that detracted from the ending for me was for more story, pick up the comics type ad they put at the end of it.
oh yeah,
And,
yeah,
and the reason why that killed it for me is because I could play that game again. Like I could go in and play a whole nother story in that same universe. New villains, new stuff, and that kind of broke it a little bit. And they did leave some ends hanging, but I think a BB plus is definitely worth it. But at the same time, how many games have such a compelling story like that where
that's true.
there's minimal mechanics, you're not doing a ton. I mean, you're mashing Q every once in a while, you're clicking on stuff, and yet at the same time you're completely enthralled in that experience for each episode that's an hour and a half long. And I don't feel that the $25 I spent to buy the season was at all overpriced.
No, no,
Um,
Right,
definitely.
and that's where Telltale has a lot going for it. I mean, if you play any of their earlier installments, like the Jurassic Park ones or the Back to the Future ones, they weren't as compelling, they weren't as
mhm.
good, but the gameplay is the exact same. There's nothing different about it, really. It's just that, I mean, I guess in the older ones there's a little more exploration, but in Wolf Among Us there was that mystery to solve.
Yeah,
And I think that what they really do well is the fact that they do take this world that has a huge fan base and they can get new people interested in that world, but still keep the people who love that world happy. They're not pissing people off by what they're doing. I'd say for the majority, there's always going to be a couple people who are mad about something, but
Like me.
yeah, and I would say a B plus. I'd agree with that. Um, I thought the art was awesome. I thought that the characters were well done. The voice acting was really well done. I mean, I agree with you. I don't know what I would have wanted to make it an A, but there was something. I just can't
yeah,
put my finger on it, which is a horrible thing to say when you're reviewing a game, like because you should
but there
know
was
what you're
something.
missing. But there was something.
Yeah. And on
I
that note,
think that
before, oh sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so they had all these really good build ups, right? So they had the parts where like, you find the head and then you find the other body and head and stuff. and all these really good, like, interesting things are going on. And then they get to like episode 4, and they just kind of like they ditch Ichabod Crane. They start going after the other guy, the what's his name? I forgot the main villain. I mean, that's how forgettable he is until he starts talking. I like what he is saying, and he's a really good like kingpin. However, they didn't really do any build up to it. Like it's just like, oh hey, he's actually everything's being run by this guy. Like there was no build up. It felt like to me at least. And Blake Mary was a great character too, but I just felt like there just wasn't a lot of backbone there. I mean, yeah, she fucks him up, but like compared to everything else they were doing in it, I just didn't feel like they did as much with those two. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, that's where I'm getting at with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll disagree with you. I actually feel like the Crooked Man was very well built up because they spend the entire time giving him that undertone, right? Like, if you think about it, he's this great mystery. He's the Crooked Man. You don't want to screw with the Crooked Man. Don't mess with the Crooked Man. And really, he's this frail old man, right? So I thought he was a really cool villain. But we can talk about other stuff. But I
Yeah, yeah.
do want to do a quick plug before we jump into the gaming with gold stuff. I've been playing a game called Hand of Fate
Ooh,
on
yeah.
Xbox One, and it's pretty great. So it's really cool because it's a card-based RPG with a deck building system, but you actually have like a hack and slash adventure as well. So basically, the dealer lays out cards in like a path, and you go along this path, and every time you pick a card, it takes some of your food. So there's resource management because you have to keep your food in line, you have to keep an eye on your health. But when you get to like events or combat, it actually takes you into like a little top-down third-person fighter, and you have to, and it has like a counter system and a melee system. It has a relic system. You can do counter attacks and dodges. So you're actually fighting these monsters, and then if you win, you get more cards and more rewards. So it kind of gives you the best of both worlds, and your whole thing is to culminate to a boss fight. So you get to the end and you fight a boss, which I've fought a couple of them now. One of them was it was the Jack of Skulls, so he was this giant skeleton, and he had like all these skeletons with him. But when you kill him, then you win the duel, right? And you can go through and keep playing these other boss fights. It's pretty cool. So,
That's something that, I mean, that kind of gameplay is something I've always felt like Pokemon could actually benefit from.
hmm
I think I would be a lot more interested in the game if when I'm playing Charizard or Pikachu or whatever, I can actually control them and actually have like a full-on battle instead of just like Thunder Strike and then see a little animation. I know that that's completely different from what they've done, but I just think that could be a nice change in those type of games. And so I agree with you on. I haven't played this game you're talking about, but I think that it would be a breath of fresh air.
yeah. So, good stuff. Check it out if you have time. It's fun. I think it's only like $15. It's
Is
on
it?
PC,
It's only
Xbox.
single player.
There's an endless mode. I didn't see a lot of multiplayer stuff though. So,
Okay. And it's $15.
I want to say it's 15 or $20. It's not very expensive at all.
Knowing that
For the
I'm a
most part.
huge critic with things, would you recommend the game for like somebody like me?
No.
Who would we recommend it to?
I would recommend it to anybody who wants a card-based experience with RPG. I wouldn't like Lance. I don't think you'd be into it. Randall, I think it would be a tough fit for you, but you'd probably enjoy it.
I think this
Um,
sounds like a Steve and a Vance game.
yeah, I think Vance would love it. I think Steve would love it as well.
If we could
So,
pry advance away from Quake for a
mhm,
little while.
mhm.
Quake. That's my Vance impression right there.
That was good.
Really good, wasn't it? Okay, so moving on. We've been talking about this for a while. What's it been? 2 months now, Randy, for
About
gaming.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so what is this? Anonymous frog. What the fuck did you add to the podcast thing? Um, anyways, so Randy has not had gold, and Tom, stop fucking with the sheet while I'm trying to talk.
Sorry.
um, Randy, tell us what how it's been without gold. Tell me what your experience has been and if it's actually functional for everybody. I mean, do you
It
feel like it's something that most people could do?
I Yes and no. It's 50-50 because we've talked a lot about this before. There's usually two main types of gamers. There's the people like me who and Mandy who are all just about the story and they play the campaign and they don't really do a lot of multiplayer. And then there's you who could care less about the campaign and all you want to do is go into Crucible and kill people. Or whatever game you're playing and just fight. And so if you want that PvP experience, like you need gold. That's what it's there for. But for me, because I mainly do a campaign stuff, I honestly haven't really been missing it. There's been a couple times where one of my buddies, wants to play something, or Mandy's like, "Hey, let's play Assassin's Creed Unity together." I can't do that because I don't have gold, so because I can't play with my friends in that way. Um, but other than those few rare times, the only thing I'm actually really missing is the free games that come with it each month. Uh, and sometimes they're great, and other times they're kind of just lackluster. But what I hate the most, and it makes sense, but it's like a Spotify subscription. As soon as you cancel it, you lose all your music that you've downloaded, right? Until
You
you
get it
sign
back
up
if you
again.
re. One thing we want to probably look into too is if you ever do go back and do gold, which if anybody wants to donate gold for Randy, he's been such a good sport. Donate to Randy. Um,
Um,
Well, I
and
think
I really
I
think
you
you
think
should
you
go back
do
to
get it
Xbox.
back for the record because they're still in my game queue. They're still the games I've downloaded through Gold
Okay.
are still listed, but when I click on them to play, it says you must have Xbox Live
yeah.
Gold to play this
So
game.
so let me ask you this, Randall, since we're on this topic. When they announced the games with gold for next month,
hmm
did that make you rethink your decision to not renew?
I look at it every month just to see what's coming, but I don't have a 360 anymore. I
Oh,
just have an
okay.
Xbox One, and so there's not a lot of games on Xbox One for Gold that make it worth my time. Whether I'm finding it on sale somewhere for 30 to 40 bucks, or I'm gonna be doing the full price of 60. As soon as they release a game like, for example, Witcher 2, which they did 360 last month, right? Or was that this month? Um, they had a lot of games, and then next month it's Lara Croft, like Tomb Raider stuff. They have a lot of games for 360 that are appealing, but I don't have a 360 anymore. I am on the next gen system. Give me good free games for the next gen system.
Like
Don't.
iDarb.
Well, yeah, iDarb's amazing. I think, I mean, you got to realize that the library for Xbox One is pretty small.
Oh, of
Right.
course it is. It's super small. What I'm looking forward to in the future is when they start releasing games that were on the 360 that have been remastered or whatever for the next gen console. Like I would love to see after Arkham Knight comes out in June, maybe around Christmas time, they release like a collector's edition of the whole Batman trilogy from Rocksteady. I'm not saying they're gonna do that. That's just saying what I would
Oh,
like
I
to
bet they
have.
do. I bet they'll do a box set.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been fine, honestly. There's been a couple times I've missed it, but for the most part, I'm okay without it. I do think I will eventually get it again, but it will be for like a birthday or Christmas present that a family member gives me an Xbox, gift card, and that's
What
what I'll
games would
spend.
draw you back to it? Halo,
Um, well,
Col-
I already have Halo, the Master Chief Collection.
Broken Chief Collection.
And
It's
the
still broken.
campaign is fine. It's the
Yeah,
multiplayer that sucks, and as we already discussed, I don't play multiplayer. So I
yeah.
love the Halo series. I've been
For the
playing.
record, I actually just got a link from a buddy of mine. Shout out to Arthur. That multiplayer is still broken.
Oh yeah, in the industry I work in, I met someone who works for Microsoft and as one of my customers, and then I actually asked him about it, and he said it's been a big pain in their butt, obviously, and they're working on having a big update come in June that should hopefully fix all the bugs. However, this guy could be completely full of crap. For all I know, he has nothing to do with it. It's
Oh,
just,
they don't
you know.
have any of the video game.
But they have some of their departments. But I think it's worth noting too. Like, I mean, you could throw that accusation anywhere. I mean, Ultra Street Fighter 4 on PC has been broken online since launch, as far as the lag
Oh,
situation goes.
a
Yeah,
broken PC game.
yeah, and it's been
What
bad.
is the
Like,
master race
you
gonna
you
do?
had to opt into a beta to get like the patches, and still like it's better now. It's cleaned up, but I will still have matches that are pretty heavily laggy off and on. So I feel like the Halo thing is just because it was so it was just awful. It was just it was fucking bad. But anyway, we've already
And
ranted, so I'm good.
more
Yeah, yeah.
more games to come back. I mean, the new Counter Strike that we've seen gameplay demo of, where you're actually on a team, counter the SWAT team versus the terrorists. Um, you look confused. You don't know what I'm talking about. Check the
I haven't
E3
looked at it yet.
demo.
No.
Um, and then I mean, Evolve was fun, but when I played the beta, I got super bored, and so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna buy this game.
I'm hearing
Um,
that a lot.
and so I think that I guess I'd want more campaign-driven multiplayers. Like Assassin's Creed Unity had parts that were fun, but there wasn't enough of it. And what they did have, at least in the beginning, they had a lot of bugs, and they did fix them. But still, it's just multiplayer isn't what really appeals to me. So,
You know what's funny is right there. There was a light at the end of the tunnel for me to actually game with Randall a couple months ago, and it was
was.
when Disney Infinity comes out, and then Randall's like, "Oh, I just canceled my subscription." I'm like, "Fucking
It's
really?"
true, and I love Disney Infinity. And if you know what, maybe I should just find like a free 30-day pass or something, and we could just play Disney Infinity, and you could throw me around the map for a bit. Uh,
Tom, Tom, do not. I'm going to tell you how much I am boycotting EA. Well, not EA. I should just say I'm boycotting Dice because they've been ruining that franchise for
I
so
see.
long.
Here's the thing about Hardline, and shout outs to Arthur. We talked about it at work today, or maybe it was yesterday. But I something about a game that is central around a heist does sound incredibly fun. And the idea
Go
that you
play
have to,
Payday.
it sounds fun. I'm sorry, it does. It sounds interesting.
I really like Payday actually a lot. I haven't played Payday 2 yet. I have
Didn't
it. I just
didn't
haven't.
you gift all of us that on Steam and then we just never played it?
I
yeah,
played it. You never played it.
That's what it was. Like Lance gifted half of the United States a copy of Payday 2, and we just never played it together, which is a shame.
It was a great
We
game.
should fix that.
Yeah, we should go play it.
Hmm.
But we'll
yeah.
make sure that Vance is working so he can't revel in the fact that we're actually on Steam for once again. So, anyways, so with the topic being gaming subscriptions, I kind of wanted to delve into good or bad experiences we've had with subscriptions, and then we're just going to kind of wrap it up, and then we're going to talk about "Come at Me, Bro" and how that went. So, it seems to
I'll
be a failed segment, by the way.
No, I think it's just a segment we need to focus on harder. That's all. That's all.
I think that gaming subscriptions, it's one of those things that if you have a pay to play game, like any kind of like how Lord of the Rings was before it became free online, or WoW, or whatever it
Wow,
is.
Lotro, yeah.
Um, those games you have to have a really solid platform and a really solid experience to justify the pay to play, because most likely these people are already paying for the game, and now they're having to pay a monthly subscription on top of the game. And so I think that if the game, I don't know, maybe what would make it easier is if part of your subscription pays for the game and the DLC that you're getting. You don't have to spend this extra money. But at the same time, these companies are making millions of dollars by doing the platform that they're already doing, so why would they change it?
Well, so here's my justification. Well, coming from somebody like me who played 7 years of WoW or whatever, I played a lot. Um, and this was my justification. Before I started playing World of Warcraft, I was spending $60+ a month on a game every month. Every month I was buying a new game. And even if I didn't buy one every month, let's just look at like track record, okay? How many games did you buy last year, Randy? Brand new.
Brand new. Hang on. Keep talking and I'll count them.
Okay. Well, Tom, I bet Tom has spent probably bought
Uh,
5 new games, 6 new games,
more than that.
more than that.
I would
Yeah.
say I'm like three or four,
World
maybe
of
four.
Warcraft subscription is $15 a month. I mean, that's not a lot. If that's the game that you want to play, if you're playing an MMO, there is enough content, in my opinion. If that's the biggest thing. A game like World of Warcraft or um, somebody who's really ambitious like that wants to ask a lot more money for things,
Hmm.
you better damn well have the content to back it up.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly my point. Like, if I'm fine paying if the content's there, But
Yeah.
if the content's not there, then don't waste my money.
Well, and I think when I think of gaming subscriptions, I don't think of subscribing to a certain game anymore. I think of subscribing to a service at this point, and
Yeah.
my concern now lies in, so I'm paying for Xbox Live Gold, right? Oh, also later Vance, thanks for tuning in, man. Hearts. Um,
I night.
so you look at that. I'm paying for Xbox Live, which is only $60 a year, right? $5 a month, not a big deal.
Oh, it's
Playing,
not bad at
paying,
all.
paying for PlayStation Plus, another $5 a month essentially. So there's that. Then you start thinking, okay, do I subscribe to PlayStation Now? So that's $20 a month.
Which one's PlayStation Now
So
again?
that's where you can basically stream classic titles directly to your system for a subscription fee, and it's all you can eat like Netflix style. And they've got a couple hundred games on there.
$20 is kind of steep considering my
That's
Netflix is 7.
Well, but and so that's the next thing, right? So we have that. So then when Microsoft gets on board and does something, there's the EA service now, which I think that one is it 15 or $20 a month for the EA, where you get early access to games and things like that. So you start stacking these up, and pretty soon there's going to be $200 to $300 a month worth of subscription services to game. Not to mention games releasing every couple of weeks, that type of thing. So I just feel like the monthly cost of being a gamer is potentially going up.
Well, and I think what they need to do as far as like the PlayStation Now or when Microsoft does theirs, whatever they're gonna call it, if you are getting these classic games, and I mean that's how they would do like the whole Batman trilogy or the old Assassin's Creed games or all the Madden series for those people who play sports games or Call of Duty or whatever. That's how you get these old games without having to buy used copies and then trade them in again for, pennies on the dollar. But I think that if you're having the subscription, part of what they need to do is okay, the new Call of Duty or the new whatever is going to come out, you now get it at a discount, or you get the extra DLC for free, or something along those lines because you are subscribing to this service already. They need to do something similar to like GameStop, Amazon, Walmart. Whenever you pre order a game from them, they have exclusive bonuses. So I need a Microsoft bonus to justify getting new games plus getting these classics if you're going to charge me 15 to $20 a month, because Lance is right. My Netflix is only $7 or $8, and I have access to all these movies to stream online for free. Well, I guess my monthly subscription, not free, but don't charge me a monthly subscription and then okay, you get this one game for free, but then you have to pay to rent this one. And isn't that what PlayStation Now did originally? They made you pay for the games too, or did they change that?
So originally when it launched in beta, it was just that. It was you would actually rent the games and stream them. You didn't pay for the service, but you would rent the games and stream them. They just released basically it's their a la carte kind of all you can eat streaming service, which is at
Okay.
$20 a month.
Which is better because if I have to pay to rent a game for a certain amount of time, I'm just gonna go to Redbox and I'm gonna pay the $1.50 to rent it and just binge play it for a couple days and then return it.
Yeah, but that's the only thoughts I had on subscription services. Really, is like it's getting I feel like Netflix and Hulu have done a great job of testing the waters, and we're about to hit that point where it's going to be extremely outlandish.
Yeah, I mean,
So
maybe it'll dial back or something, but I mean, premium service, what I guess it all comes down to what do you consider a premium service that actually makes sense to you, right?
yeah,
So if you're paying for it, then you're facilitating it. So, but anyways,
yeah, and I think PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold, I still think is worth the money.
yeah.
I
And
still think PlayStation Plus is the best value around as far as online goes. And that's only if anything for the additional discounts on games, the free games you get are really incredible. And they're doing a really great job of making sure that you're getting games that are worth what you're doing. A lot of really good Vita content, a lot of good PS3 content, a lot of good PS4 content. And they've even gone as far as to a new indie game is releasing, and they're finding a way to make that a free game on Plus, which is pretty rad comparatively to Microsoft's getting better, but I still do feel like there's a lot of old stuff coming through on Games for Gold. So,
yeah, and I mean, I game or the Xbox Live Gold subscription is not too expensive. I mean, even if you're paying full price, what, it's $5 a month, like we said. For me, what happened is mine wasn't on auto renew. It just expired one day, and I was like, do I really need to renew it? And that's how this whole conversation started.
And
I
then
actually
yeah,
think it was a podcast night, and Chuck, you were like, just try gaming without gold and see what happens. and so far I've been fine.
Well, I think it's a good thing to look at. I mean, I'm not saying like, you know, I just think it's you know, for you, I kind of wanted you to be my test baby to see what
Yeah,
the
I don't think you could do it. Getting back to that subject,
no,
you wouldn't survive. You would hate your life.
no. I mean, so Brooke is about to move into a house, and she's going to take my Xbox 360 for a while so she can stream Netflix and do stuff, and then I'll have a gaming system over there. It's a win-win, right? But um, yeah, I don't really know what that looks like for me to not be on my Xbox One and have to go back to my Xbox 360 for a little while. Might
Yeah.
be.
Oh my God, we can start playing Castle Crashers again.
Oh my
Castle
God.
I
Crashers is
love
fun.
Castle Crashers. Let's do
Castle
it.
Crashers is fun, except for the controls. They're so wanky until you get used to them.
Sure. But anyways, I want to wrap this up with one more thing that I want to talk about. I am this close to canceling this segment that we were supposed to be doing on the weekends that we have not fucking done, and that is Come At Me Bro. It's been 2 weeks that I've been doing this. The first week, I got extremely drunk to play Assassin's Creed. Nobody watched me. I mean, who would want to watch that game anyway? But like, we didn't have anybody giving me any shit. So what I think what we're gonna do is while Tom is getting clowned by me and Idarb, we might do like a group thing, like we might have some other people play. But while Tom gets clowned in Idarb, we need to have everybody on giving him shit. We need to plan it better because what ended up happening is Tom and I both drank all weekend, and then we got
Yeah.
to Sunday because we're like, yeah, we're gonna do it Sunday, and we got to Sunday and we're like, yeah, I was drinking Friday and Saturday. Yeah, so was I. I didn't even get drunk Saturday night. No, neither did I. I don't want to drink tonight. Fuck it, let's not do it.
Well, and it also came
But I
down
blame
to
Tom.
like the 2 hour wait at Jiffy Lube to get my oil changed and other side events that kind of influenced Sunday. But yeah,
That thing called
but
life that
yeah,
stopped us from gaming.
but that 2 day hangover was really not conducive to additional drinking. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But this weekend, Tom versus Lance and Idarb will happen.
Tom's gonna get his ass kicked. But anyways, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So this has been the Entertainment is Dead podcast for this week. I am your host, Chuck. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot those questions over to me at Chuck Sweat or at Thomas Winkley or at Ramcon 5000
No,
because
he's
I'm
No, it's
he's
going to change it
Webheadbot
back.
now.
he's
No,
at Webheadbot. And don't forget, if you want to sound off, send us hate mail, feedback at entertainmentisdead.com. I don't know if we'll read it on the air. Depends on how good it is. If it's really spiteful, I might.
If we get
Um,
enough, Tom will shave his beard.
well, that'll only last a weekend. But
Well, that's why it's not a problem for you
yeah,
to do it.
seriously. Yeah, so check it out. And
thanks for tuning in.
woo!
Good night, Internet.